Game number 1 of this best of 3 going down on Frost. It's the new maps for Season 2. Haven't seen any yet today so far, but hoping we'll get some cool action coming up on some of them throughout the day. Especially now we're in the best of 3 category as opposed to best of 1s with fixed maps. Spawning in the top right hand position, we've got our blue Zerg player. It's Lambo. And his opponent to the top left, the red Zerg, memOryfreak. These two are doing actually some pretty cool stuff today. Lambo King was able to take down Ascending in the round of 16 to get here, whereas memOryfreak actually took down Tefl in a ZvZ round 1. That's no easy achievement. I don't know how he did it, if it was a cheesy build or something like that, but to be honest, it's no easy feat regardless, because Tefl is actually a very well-rounded player who is unlikely to get completely caught off guard by a cheese or something like that. I'm 99% sure that the first round map was Frost, so a lot of the early game kind of massive rushes or something like that aren't as viable, but you never know. Who knows what happened? I wasn't there, none of the other casters were there to my knowledge, so I guess it's a question to find out what it was. But that question will have to be answered another day, because on this fine hour, both these two are opening hatch first into pools at nigh identical times. And that means that, at least for the moment, this is a mirror build on a mirror matchup in mirrored positions, so it should be pretty cool. It's not actually completely mirrored positions. If they're in cross spawn, then it would be, because things are slightly different, even though it's mirrored down the center. Okay, I'm digressing from the point, but anyway, they're doing very similar things until now. Lambo opting to go for the gasless style play, at least at the moment, whereas memOry deciding that getting a gas down, getting speed earlier, is a worthwhile advantage to sacrifice some of that early mineral income. Quite interesting that in the previous game I actually cast was Johnny Rico going up against, I can't even remember now, Johnny Rico going up against Tomicus. We saw Rico open gasless, whereas Tomicus opened with this speeder earlier play, but he continued on with the gas income. And that's really the big thing that Lambo's going to want to see more than anything else is, do these drones stay in gas after speed has started? Because if they don't, it just means this is purely for speed, potentially a big speedling all-in or a lot of speedling aggression. If one stays in, it's not going to be a super aggressive speedling play, it's just going to be a trickle of gas and a fairly normal thing coming out. Speed only there to get a bit more map control and be a little bit safer. Lambo's first 2 lings though, making their way across, going to get some good scouting information. Simultaneously, memOry sending his own 2 lings over. An attempt to block these Zerglings is coming down from the Queens, but they're going to be able to get through. Sees one drone mining gas, sees the shimmer of the spawning pool, confirms what's coming. Meanwhile though, if we take a look at what memOry's seen, he was actually blocked by the double queen on the ramp, and that means Lambo has denied some critical information from his opponent. His opponent has no way of knowing whether this is actually gasless. There wouldn't have been a 3rd queen out either to give it away. 4 queens with a gas is exceptionally unusual, and so therefore, if you do see a 3rd queen, you can assume that it's gasless. If we take a look here, these 2 gases that have just been taken weren't seen, so there's really no information open to memOry about what was happening. The work account is currently 1 in favour of Lambo. Gonna go quite a lot more in his favour though, since 10 Zerglings are on their way out now from memOry. They're being used aggressively for the moment to buy him time to try and secure up this 3rd. But Lambo knows that this 3rd base is coming. He's scouted it with that Overlord. And so there is no surprise here. Nor is this push any threat to Lambo because he's seen that 3rd. As the 3rd's coming down, there's no way that this can be a big push. So getting this wall off with 2 queens there is more than enough to defend this, allowing Lambo to continue on with drone production and not having to fret with putting up a solid defense. His only concern will be that he's contained and his opponent is getting super far ahead in terms of that third base timing. So Lambo's getting a short-term boost to his economy by not producing 5 lava worth of lings, but he gets a long-term loss to it because of the third base. So he's banking up Zerglings, hiding them in the back, using his queen to push these ones back for the moment. The lings do actually try and sneak through, but good control from Lambo just denies any of that. Interestingly, Lambo adding in a lot more Zerglings, but is getting the +1 missile attack, +1 armor. This third evolution chamber, almost certainly an error rather than a Rotron, unless he just didn't want to give it away. But especially with the +1 missile attack, I can't see it being anything but an error, especially with that coming down at the back now. It does complete the wall off, but the job can be done with the Rotron anyway. Decent number of lings here now. A couple of roaches out on the field for memory, but even in a good position like this, the roaches can easily get surrounded, and then the lings very high damage per second knocks him out fast. More lings coming through here for Lambo. He's pushing straight towards that main, but adequate reinforcements coming through for memory prevent them getting any further for now. Both players starting up their roach production. There's going to be an additional armor upgrade for Lambo compared to memory, but memory is way ahead on the roach speed. That means that if Lambo is aggressive and actually starts pushing across the map, he's going to be in a serious risk if that engagement doesn't go favorably, because the roaches with speed just chase down the roaches without speed as they retreat and take out a lot of them. So I'm glad to see, because of this, Lambo sitting back, adding in a spine crawler, and taking a very defensive standpoint for now, not wanting to allow any big risks or overcommit into potentially a bad spot. Both these two players leveling the drone count 51 apiece. And we see that good positioning of the roaches from memory is going to prevent Lambo from doing much else. Big push of a substantial number of roaches actually coming down from memory here, as from Lambo. They're both amassing quite a sizable roach force now. Memory including a handful of speedlings, which quite frankly is a really good decision. Adding in a handful of lings into a roach on roach engagement early on is going to be massively beneficial, because their damage is still going to be pretty good, and they may even soak up a couple of those hits from your opponent's roaches, really maximizing how long your own ones stay up, and that extra shot or two can make a huge difference in roach on roach fights. Big Overlord Flood coming down here from memory, who has got himself a tad supply blocked. Easy thing to do though when you are getting a lot of roaches down. Roaches exceptionally supply heavy, and so that supply block can and will often occur. Lambo getting his natural base contaminated. Now this is something that happens far too infrequently for my liking, because in a ZvZ, a contamination stops the inject. It can make a big difference to the production capabilities of your opponent. Memory currently up 180 to 158 supply. His work account downside, which means that most of that advantage, all of that advantage, coming from army supply, moving in now. Good concave here from Lambo, who's coming in from the top as well as the sides. Reinforcing advantage is there for him, plus this spine crawler. Upgrades are also in Lambo's favour with a +1 carapace. Nice round, nice wrap around, taking a lot of damage. Does memory have enough units to do this? Their supplies bang on equal in army, but Lambo has that reinforcing advantage. Big trades coming through here, but Lambo with a better concave, with just a few more units, with the transfuses, is able to take this fight. Disastrous now for memory, because his economy down by 6 drones, which may not be the largest amount ever, but 6 drones in a mirror matchup is going to make a fairly huge difference. In come the roaches from Lambo, continuing forward. The important thing for Lambo here is not to overcommit or take a fight that he can't easily win. He knows he's got more roaches here, going for the engagement. The front row's getting taken out, but memory now, the one with the reinforcing advantage. Lambo packing in a lot more roaches, whereas memory waiting for that +2 missile attack to really make its mark on this fight. Lambo's already got it though. GG is called, and Lambo takes game number 1 of this best of 3.